4, 3.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it. Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Because I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it. Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Because I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
I don't know. Fuck. 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 I don't know. I don't know. Fuck. I don't know what. Go. I can't do it.
Fuck it.
Go. I can't do it.
Fuck it.
Go. I can't do it.
Fuck it.
Go. I can't do it.
Thanks again for watching.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it. Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Because I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
Fuck it.
There's no words on it. Tomorrow.
Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Because I've never seen that.
Fucking thing sucks. There's no words there.
Okay. Ready?
Take it away.
Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah. Go. Yeah.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it. Fuck it.
Go.
Fuck it.
What does that mean? To play us out?
Fuck it.
To end the show? Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck is up? Good Lord. Everybody alive? Everybody alive? Hanging in the Rona crisis? Hope everyone's doing well. Chilling. Looks a little different on IG today, folks, because I changed some shit around. So it's like a little up close and personal. But if you're having trouble on IG, I figured out some new shit, which is if you look at my signature, there's a link directly to darkhorse.live. That's the whole web address, darkhorse.live. But there's a link in the web address of the IG, or in the signature of our IG. If you have any trouble at all, that'll take you straight live to this stream. Ooh. My brother's calling in. Hold up real quick. There he is. Turn your sound on so brother can see you.
You hear me?
Can you hear me?
You see me? I hear you.
I hear you.
You hear me?
All right.
I don't see you.
You don't see me?
Oh wait.
I can see you. Give me 1 sec. We're right here in the intro. They can't quite hear you yet, but I'll bring you in a second, bud.
Cool, man.
Cool. So yeah, if you just joining us, we're gonna bring on Mitch from Incredibowl and hear what he's got to say about some shit. We're gonna give away some shit, and yeah, you already know how we do. So right off the bat, first thing we do on this show every week, free shit.
Free shit.
Let's go out with Thanos F2 right off the gate. Thanos F2. How you get these? I'll show you right on the screen here. Free shit. Email. Right on top of your screen. Go ahead and send an email to that email. Let's do the fourth person to email me Incredibowls. Fourth person in the subject line to email me Incredibowls shall take home these Thanos F2s. You already know how we do it. Word. Let's do one more for shits and giggles. Strawberry shortcake. We got another one left. How about a strawberry shortcake? These are getting to be pretty rare. Strawberry shortcake. If you want to win these, you have got to email on the top of your screen, darkhorsegeneticslive@gmail.com, and you shall win these seeds if you put in the subject line JLP. JLP was the breeder for the Juliet. So JLP in the line will take, how about the 10th person? So you're more than welcome to try more than once, but 10th person we're going to take, and they will take these home with them. So with that said, I'm going to jump right into it because I got a pretty cool guest tonight, and we're going to try to do this on the fly. Fuck it, we're doing it live like we always do. So let me see if I can't bring my man in and figure this out real fast. Boom, there he is. Give me
What's going on?
Give me a quick sound check. Thumbs up in the chat.
Sound check. Hopefully you can hear me.
Thumbs up in the chat if you can hear my man.
I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can't hear you.
Cool. I think we're good.
Cool.
I think we're good. We'll proceed as if we're good. Yeah, I'm not seeing any feedback. No sound? No sound on Mitch?
No sound on me?
No sound on all of Insta? That
Whoa.
might be an issue for Insta people. We'll keep rolling.
That-
You already know all the other platforms if you're having trouble. But yeah, my guy Mitch is here with us. So if we're having trouble, I'll put it up on IGTV anyway. But I think we're rolling. So, all right, my man. Everybody, this is my good friend Mitch, founder, I believe, of Incredibowl.
Founder of Incredibowl, yeah.
Cool. So
Cool.
on this,
Is that the capacity to appearing tonight? Because I'm not really super prepared. There's not that much going on with Incredibowl that I could possibly be talking about.
I don't want to go super deep on Incredible. The way we do this show is I sort of bring in my friends, and I just sort of ask them, like, we always start at the very beginning. Like, do you remember the first time you ever smoked weed, dude? Do you remember the first time you saw weed? We'll start there.
First time I saw weed was my dad's weed.
Your dad's weed?
Yeah, it was my dad's weed. It was bad. It was not good weed. I did not smoke weed till I was 21. So I was like mad that I found my dad's weed. My brother actually found it and brought it to my attention. So that was the first weed I saw, was my dad's weed. And then in junior high, I saw some, let me bring this back. The first weed I saw, this is actually really good. Wait, is this all going to get posted? We're past 7 years. We're good. The first weed I ever saw was when I was 13 years old. I went on like a trip to Israel. And there was like some free time where we weren't supervised. And I don't know what compelled me, but I did not smoke weed yet. But the first thing I did was cop. And then start giving and selling weed to the other kids on my trip. And there were about 12 seeds in there. And I brought those home from Israel to America, which who knows where they ended up. But the point being, that goes that far back. Before I smoked, I bought weed, sold weed, and smuggled seeds.
Interesting. So that was kind of one of my next questions. Is growing up, like, you clearly weren't a stoner or anything. Were you a jock? Were you a nerd? Like, what was your youth like?
I was more nerd, I guess.
More nerd.
I was computer hacking and shit, and then punk. By high school, I was getting into punk and shit. But then when I went to college after high school, actually that's where the Incredibowl story begins, because my best friends was this guy, Mark McGinnis, and Mark smoked weed constantly all day. I didn't smoke any weed, but we just got along real well. But I just kept making bongs I was fascinated by the physics of bongs for whatever reason. And I kept making bongs and giving them to Mark to use. And I had made a pipe in high school for a friend that was a stoner too. I was always friends with stoners. I just didn't smoke myself till I was 21.
Interesting. So what about growing? Did you ever grow at this stage, or did you ever, get into the craft of growing?
I didn't grow till I moved out here like 2010, I think I said, on my first grow. That was inconceivable to me. Like, hash was a myth. I didn't think it existed. I didn't think I knew anyone who, in retrospect, I definitely was, because I was selling weed right away. The first bag of weed I bought ever, I sold half of. Well, there's the matchbox of weed I bought in Israel, but then it was I eventually started smoking, hanging out with a new group of people who smoke. And I was like, this is pretty good. I'd like to get some to bring home with me. And I was like, what denominations does it come in? Like, what quantities do they sell it in? And she was like, well, you get an eighth for 50 or a quarter for 90. I'm thinking of getting an eighth. I was like, you're getting an eighth? All right, I'm getting a quarter. You can have an eighth for me. Immediately started doing that math. And, it was by the ounce, smoke the eighth for free was within a month of smoking weed. That's where I was at.
Sure, the standard hustle.
Yeah, and then I was like, okay, I saw the possibility there, and I had some good plugs, and I started making my moves. And so I was definitely meeting growers and buying from growers, but I was so fucking unaware, there were parts of the house that were tarped off that I wasn't allowed to go in, and I was like, oh, I don't know what's going on back there.
Sure. So this is actually fucking really cool for me, because usually you're the one asking all the questions. I get to ask you the questions now. Like this,
I've asked these questions of like a bazillion people, and I've never answered.
That's what I say. Like, usually you're the guy on the other end of the microphone asking everybody all the questions or whatever. So take me through kind of like I guess you introduced to weed. You eventually move out to Colorado 2010, maybe grow a little bit or whatever that. But you eventually started writing. I think you have a couple articles with High Times. You've written a book about cannabis. You certainly became like an influential member of cannabis. You were a former member of the Dunn Show podcast. So it's you became a legend of the biz. So step by step, if you kind of would, obviously, and the Incredibowl, which we didn't even touch on, but step by step, sort of take me through that journey, kind of, if you could.
Yeah. Let me try to remember it in order. Really. Okay, so I was 21 when I started smoking weed, so that would have been 2004. Okay, so then naturally it kind of became my life, right? Like, so I was hustling back east. I was very dissatisfied with things out there. I got arrested for weed a bunch of times, and I was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm moving. I'm moving somewhere where it's legal. I didn't know where. I moved to Oregon in 2000. When did I move to Oregon? When I was 23. So 2004, not that much long after that.
Good punk rock scene too, that lines up.
Yeah. And being out there was pretty interesting for me. First of all, that's when I learned that so I had saved up, I don't know, like a rack, 10 G's, and to move out there. I had it in a briefcase. I called it the important briefcase. So we moved out there with a rack, and immediately we're like, well, fuck it. We'll find someone who could, hook us up and back into business. There's one thing we know how to do. It's sell herb. We're doing that. We very much did not do the math. Okay. We did not do the math on the fact that Oregon 2004, the medical scene was happening. There weren't clubs or anything, but people were growing. It was no challenge whatsoever to find people who were growing, but everyone was growing. No one needed to buy weed, least of all from some dudes who nobody fucking knew who just showed up in town. So big picture didn't really work out, but it was my first exposure to what I knew had to be there and I aspired to be part of in terms of the big league culture. Getting strains that were, I had Sour D back in Jersey, but that was it. It was all beasters. We didn't have a buffet of strains or even know generally what we were smoking. In New York City, you would call a delivery service and you would get some shit. As we all know, that's just Cali Outdoors, nothing special. But in Oregon, that was the first time I was like, yo, there's some fire out there in the world I've never seen before. You know what I mean? Just that stuff that you would never have seen before then if you're just buying bags, smoking beasters, whatever. But Oregon was where I still remember there was Dynamite, there was what was on the streets? Pot of Gold. I saw my first purple weed, which has some crazy name I can't remember. It was Xylon 13 or something like that. There was Northern Lights, just so much. Now I know them to be classic kind of other region, but I was exposed to fire for the first time. I was like, all right, this is cool shit. So the other thing that happened in Oregon was the first day we got there, and this is me and my boy Kyle. I moved out there with him. We're like, all right, we need to get a few things. We need to go buy knives, and we need to go buy some pieces for the house because we didn't. I brought a bong out there, but I was like, we need some house pieces. At the time, we were living in a hotel for the first week because our apartment wasn't ready to move into, so they were house pieces for the hotel. So we went to a head shop in Oregon, and we saw the Gravitron. Do you know that thing?
Oh yeah, we were just talking about it the other day. The flip it over
Fast
and
grab.
auto gravity bong hits or whatever, basically.
I don't know about that part, but it was a glass grab, and that was enough to fucking impress the shit out of me. I know what you're talking about. That's that. I forget the
thing
name
that
for
Seth
that.
Rogen dropped on his IG a while back, where everyone was like, "What the fuck kind of pipe is that?" Similar.
This is way more old school than that. This is just a glass gravity bong. But we bought it, and it was I don't know, $50 or whatever. And I was like, we walked out of the shop. We were waiting for the bus to go back to the hotel, and I was like, yo, dude, we should get into this. This is solid. And he was like, what do you mean? I was like, bro, that was a recycled wine bottle. It says it on that paper right there. We just paid $50 for it. He put some gaskets on there in a bowl, but there's no way it cost him even $25 to do that. We should get into this. And Kyle was like, yeah, whatever. It was just something we joked about, I lasted about 7 months in Oregon. It did not work out well. Went back to Jersey and then was just itching to leave. And then one day I applied to grad school in Colorado and I got in. I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm moving to Colorado. Never been there in my life. But here I am. So I was in grad school. And I was, same old, same old. As soon as I landed, I was like, let me get an ounce or two and get to work, meet some people. Worked pretty good. I was definitely hooking up people at my my writing program with, Grammys and shit. Worked out okay. And it was the early going to dispensary days where it was like you had a med card and then that was about it. There was just like nothing more official than that.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Weren't you fucking around a little bit with like the whole Occupy Wall Street and the movement in Denver? This later?
Yeah, this is like 2008, 2009.
Also earlier than that.
Yeah, I was going to Greenbelly. I don't know if you remember that place. They're no longer here, so I can speak honestly. But he would just like, there's a dude who would drive in from Cali with packs for the dispo, obviously, which is how it was. But we could just like, cool, I'll take one too. It was wild.
Yeah, that was the Wild West days of 2008 and 9.
Yeah. Yep. And so that's when we got started with Incredibowl, right in that. Really, so 2006-ish, I was sitting with Mike, who became my partner in Incredibowl, who was just a dude who lived in my apartment building, who also smoked. So we would just like hang out and smoke. We weren't like super tight, but whatever. And yeah, he had some idea. He wanted to start some business making tables or something, but he had this enamel, this hardening enamel. And I don't know, we were excited because we were going to do some entrepreneurial venture involving it. And when we poured it, I thought it was pretty neat, and I held a lighter to it, and it didn't scorch or burn or anything. And I was like, yo, dude, I wonder if you can make a pipe out of this shit, because an unbreakable pipe, people will buy that, man. And then I told them all about the Gravitron and how I had this vision to the pipe thing. Also, in the interim there, at some point, I had a vision of a pipe with multiple carbs when I was driving to visit a friend in Virginia Beach. I don't know. It was like a long ass, like 10-hour drive or whatever. And I just had spent hours just being like, what if there were a lot of carbs? Why isn't there a pipe with a lot of carbs? How would that be? Would that be faster? Would that be slower? With a shotgun, it's slower. This would speed up. Wouldn't it make it? So there's just this whole thing going over and over in my head. So anyway, we made the Incredibowl on 4/20/2009. They did that symposium thing, cannabis symposium thing at CU. I was like, we're launching it there. So that was it. There were like fucking 12 dispensaries at the time, and they were all there. So it was easy. You know what I mean? Then we would go around to every dispensary. In the beginning, I'd be like, here's a piece to try. If you want to throw me some herb to try, I'm not going to be offended. I am a patient. That's exactly what we did at your dispensary. And then, I would leave and come back, and they'd be like, yo, this is actually, because then people would smoke with their patients in the dispensary too. So, and that's the kind of the thing with the Incredibowls. Once you try it, you're like, yo, this thing's fucking cool. So I'm sorry, I got a stay-at-home order on my phone.
I just got it too. I think everybody on IG, they're watching, everyone, we just got the COVID alert. Like, Colorado just went into a state of lockdown, of stay-at-home and whatever order. So, yeah, everybody on IG, I'm sure if you're in Denver, you just got the same shit.
You're important. You don't have to lock down.
We're essential. Yes,
right?
We're essential. The badge means I can move.
I also can move, which is dope. So, we were just like making connections in the scene. And because I was going around to like every new shop, and then April, the Holder memo came out like later that month. And then it was like fucking bonanza. You know what I mean? Everyone was setting up shop. Meanwhile, this is still when we were having like patient hearings at the Capitol and shit. So I was at all those. I was very active, very much an activist for, at that point, just medical. And then when legalization came around too, but so then I met a lot of influential people through that. At the same time, I was going to every shop trying to like get them trying Incredibowl, because that was we just show up there and be like, yo, you want to blaze this thing? Like if you don't like it, cool. If you like it, you can fucking carry them, whatever. And we just got to meet everyone. We got to meet everybody. And then the Strain Man actually tried one. I don't know how. I think one of my partners found his site or whatever, and he posted about it. Then Rye from Kind Reviews tried it. And then that plugged me in. And then Rye plugged me in with Scott Reach.
Wow.
And then
I got to stop you right there real quick, because I almost had the exact same trajectory, dude. Like, the exact same trajectory. The fucking Kind Reviews guys and Stan the Strain Man. And we got the A+ review or whatever. and that was 2010 or whatever. And when those guys at that time put you on the site as like, yo, check this out, it was like a boost. But yeah, go ahead and continue.
Going on, you know, and if they're like, hey, there's this new guy, new thing, and it's fucking awesome, everyone pays attention. And it's exactly the same trajectory, dude. And I remember when Banner hit the scene at the same time. And then Westward, I think we both won awards in the Westward the same year, 2009, 2010. So we had done this, we launched it, and I'd had a vision all along. Like, I'm going to go to Amsterdam, I'm going to win a fucking Best Product Cannabis Cup. And because I'd done the research and I'd noticed that, like, all the products that had won cups were products I heard of. There's a bazillion products in the head shop, right? Like, I hadn't heard of most of them, but the ones that had won cups were ones I'd heard of. Meanwhile, I should put in context. For me, I was just trying to make like 10, 15 G's and cash out. That was the plan. Go to Amsterdam, win the cup, make the big deal, sell 15 G's worth, peace, I'm out. Clearly, that's not the case. But yeah, that was it. I just wanted to get set up with some shit. In any case, I'd had that vision to do things in Amsterdam. I was working a job at the time. I quit the job. We used to have meetings in my work at night. I used to let my partner in there, so we used the overhead projector and print shit on their printer and stuff. I would always be in there late, fucking around. I would go there with my my now wife, my then girlfriend, at times, and just like watch movies in there and shit. It was a nice office.
Well, you won like 18 cups or some shit, didn't you guys?
Eventually, so this is what happened. We went to that first cup. When I went to that first 2009, November 2009 Cannabis Cup in Amsterdam, there were 0 people with loudspeakers. There were 0 people yelling. It was just like a quiet thing where people were like milling about and smoking weed and like, oh, my ass, we just put out the foot-long tube. And the day we got to Amsterdam, we were going to coffee shops trying to like impress the locals with it. Nobody was fucking interested. However, we determined that you could smoke hash out of it without coughing. And suddenly people were interested. But at the time, we were all like, oh, we're medical marijuana. We're from Colorado. It's a higher standard, all this shit. So we're standing up on so there we're at the Cub. And yeah, it's just like a quiet thing. And I fucking stood up on a chair and I yelled, come get high, vote Incredibowl, best product, best glass. And that hadn't happened ever before. Nobody was like shilling for those things. Naturally, I created a monster.
You ruined shit. You're the guy that like started the bullhorn. Essentially, is what you're kind of leading towards here.
Definitely, 100%. It wasn't a thing before, and then they did the first cup in SF, where we did okay. So that first one in Amsterdam, we became then the first to win 2 cups. I don't know. I think it was just a strategy thing. Maybe people weren't trying for both. I don't fucking know. Usually, till then, best glass was different booths would invest in some very heady piece, and you would be voting for who brought the nicest bomb, basically. It wasn't a product per se.
Sure.
But we were like, fuck it, this is the nicest piece here too. So best product, best glass. So yeah, we won like second place best product, third place best glass or something like that. But it was mission accomplished. We picked up a distributor. We got put on in Europe, and it was happening. That's Amit. That's how I met Amit. I met Amit at that Cannabis Cup. Before we won the awards, we were fucking hyping it. Just the amount of hype we had around our table. Again, because nobody else was doing shit like that. I mean, Greenhouse always had some kind of spectacle. But the difference between Dutch style hustling, and I was like fresh East Coast at that time.
You went full ugly American.
It wasn't even close, you know? So yeah, we made a big impression there. Made a big impression on the High Times guys as well. And really how that all even came about was Normal used to do a conference in Aspen. I don't know if they still do it. Definitely not this year. They used to do a conference in Aspen in April, and we had met Warren Edson, and he told us that was coming up. We gave Warren an Incredibowl. We were like, we want to give Incredibowls to Normal, because that first year we gave 4.20% of our gross sales to Normal, which is, I didn't know enough about business when I made that decision. It was very bad.
Still honorable, but yes, still.
Sure, but it was engraved on the pieces. That was kind of the deal we struck. And that helped our reception. And then at that, everything was American made, which was not really a trend at the time. We tried to do the right thing with every decision. And at the time, you could do it in the industry. So anyway, yeah, we got all over the place, got the Incredibowls all over the place. I built a relationship with High Times. I don't even know how I broached fucking writing for them. I would go to the
always been like a gifted writer. Like, so you wrote for any
I went
people
to-
before High Times, or kind of explain a bit of your writing career, journalism career, if you will.
So I'd never really done journalistic writing, but I've been writing since school. I went to my master's is in writing. Writing's just what I intended to do with my life. I edited. I worked for Wizard Magazine, for those of you into comic books.
Mm-hmm.
I edited the Valiant Comics Bible, for those of you who are into that specific period. So Turok the Dinosaur Hunter might be one you would recall. Archer and Armstrong, and then one called Harbinger, Exo Manowar, all that Bible I wrote and edited. So yeah, I'd written shit before, and I with my master's had to produce tons of writing.
Do you remember your first piece for High Times?
Oh yeah, it was the organics piece.
Organics.
That's what it was. So I had become friends with the High Times guys because whenever I would go, I like to think I'd take a little bit of credit for putting Colorado on the map, because whenever I would go home to visit my family in Jersey, I would go to the High Times office, and I would always bring them like 5 or 6 flavors. At that time, every time I went there, those dudes would be like, "Oh, Cali's where it's at. It's about Cali." And I was like, "You guys need to fucking see what's going on in Colorado." They never tried Banner till I brought it. They never tried Golden Goat till I brought it. All that other shit. I would bring it. I would smoke it with Danko and Nico, all those guys. And yeah, I like to take some credit for putting Colorado on the map in their eyes, because I'd been pushing them. You got to do a cup in Colorado. You got to do a cup in Denver. And I didn't write for them till after Incredibowl, till after I stopped competing in cups. So they eventually did that Denver Cup, and that's where we kind of built our reputation for fucking crushing it. We won like 2 first places and a second place. We rocked that moment.
That was the best cup ever. That was my most favorite memory. That cup was insane, dude. That was so much fucking fun.
You're talking about the medical, or I'm talking about the Denver Rec Cup.
Denver, the first one that was in the warehouse. I'm not sure if you were at that one. It was in a warehouse in downtown Denver. It was fucking overcrowded, line around the block. It was nuts, and it was super smoked out.
That Rec Cup was way more nuts.
When the guy stole the trailer from the fucking the Grow fucking fifth wheel trailer, backed up and stole it. That was the wildest cup I've ever been to.
That was dope. We wanted that one too. That was actually a dope cup. Nestor won that.
Yep.
So that's when High Times started taking me seriously, I feel like, because nobody knew Nestor. I walked into Nestor's shop to sell him Incredibowls, and I was like, oh, there's actually some actual legitimate fire here. I would like to meet your grower. And I met Nestor, and we just became buddies. He lived in Fort Collins. I lived in Fort Collins. We kind of had common interests, I guess, as it were, particularly in the fire. And so I was doing a lot of organic growing at the time. I had gotten kind of, I don't know, in with the organic growing nerd crowd on IC Mag. And so I was constantly trying to be, talking about that. And that was the method that Nestor used. And he really taught me, kind of gave me my recipes and all that shit. So I told Nestor, it was like a week before the cup. I was like, dude, your weed is extremely fire. You should enter this cup. I think you'll place. And he won. So with that, then High Times, and knowing that, also those first cups, bro, I've actually gone through my email and seen it. I brokered, I don't know, maybe 30 of the booths at the first 2 cups, like went through my email, like I'm CC'd on them, and like big brands that we all know today. Just like, yeah, they're doing a cannabis cup. You want to sign up? I'll put you on with my guy. Those kind of things. So with Nestor, I was like, you should sign up. He signed up. He won, again, first place. So I can blew their minds. And then I don't think I was even writing yet. No, but Fort Collins is when I did the grower parties. Did you get invited to those?
I'm not sure. I'm
pretty sure I gave you an invite. I don't remember if you came. So this is like the prototype of shit that I repeated a bunch of times. But we rented this Italian restaurant, and we talked with the dudes at Pink House. because they had like a chill space.
Yep. Pink
And I
House was
basically-
crushing at the time.
Yeah, it's when they were crushing. And I just went to the best growers I knew, and like we hand delivered these little, very fancy invitations to this party, and all they would have to do is bring herb. This is what laid the foundation for what, became ADSI and eventually became the Grand Prix.
Yeah.
Because of, let's just get all the growers together with their best herb to show off. Again, well intentioned, and look where it got us. So. Yeah, and major connections. That was the first time like Nick T met the Pink House guys. That's how he started working at Pink House, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Was it that Scott Reach, like a lot of those core connections. That's where D Money got part of Nicka's hash technique, and then D Money went on to win Legends of Hash. So it's a lot was happening. It was like a very cool place, and I was just like excited to see my friends there smoking weed. Like that was cool. And my birthday party that year was like VIP of cannabis type shit. Now I don't have anybody. But yeah, so that was that. Between all that, at some point, I was like, "High Times, let me write." And Danko, I was friends with Danny at that point. I was like, "Danko, let me write an article on rolls on recycled organic living soil growing." And he was like, "Cool, do it." And that organics article got major heat. Like it was very popular. They reprinted it 3-4 times. They ran it online a ton. He said it was their most popular article that year. So that was dope. And then I used my High Times fake credentials to like, I would want to go to concerts for free and hang out backstage. So I would like interview rappers for High Times. But it was like hanging out with the Locks more than anything else.
Did it work most of the time? You just walked up with your High Times creds and they're like, "Come on back."
Dude, I hung out with Styles P and Jadakiss for like with my brother. Like we had no relationship to any of the article. He's just a fan. For like, I don't know, the better part of all evening, before the show and after the show. It was dope. Cool. And other people were like coming on the bus and getting off, but we were like the steady parked crew.
So when did you write the book? You've written a book. It's I don't have it in front of me, so I apologize for fucking this part up. Aficionado's Handbook for Cannabis or something. What is it titled?
It's the Cannabis Aficionado's Handbook. So at that point, I started judging cups because I was very like in a neutral camp. I had no stake in anything, but I knew good weed, which is actually kind of rare to find. At that time it was. So I started judging cups, and I was like seeing the way other people were judging, and I was like, this is horse shit. Like these people, first of all, don't know weed, and second of all, don't know how to judge anything. So I wanted to write the book. At the time I was working for Kind Reviews also. I guess after my first daughter was born, so about 6 years ago, I wasn't doing Incredibowl anymore. I was writing for Kind Reviews and photographing for Kind Reviews. I was writing for High Times. I was writing for Dope. I wrote for Skunk. I wrote for all of them. A lot of interviews. That's when I started doing it. Interviews became, honestly, it was the easiest way to put together a really long article. It was just like hanging out with my friends. I was friends with everybody.
Get the word count up.
Exactly. Fuck it. Let me hang out, talk to Hulk, and I'll get paid 5 cents a word on this. And dope. It's like that's an easy paycheck. So yeah, I was doing a lot of interviews, and then I got a gig with Yellow Scene, which is like a housewife magazine in Boulder, but they had a monthly cannabis column, and they would give me a different topic every month, or I would have to come up with a topic. So it'd be like education. So that was all about like CU's stance on cannabis. And then like Halloween, it was like, what are, I don't know, like strain costumes. And then Valentine's Day was like how to make weed lube, and like just a weed tie-in for every fucking thing I did. And I did that for a long time. And then people would ask questions and shit. So I did that. At the same time, like legalization was happening in all this. I would not say I was an integral activist in that by any means. There are many people who worked tirelessly for that. I set up some important fucking meetings that led to some coalitions, that led to some like the actual wording of the language of the bill that was passed was a direct result of like the people who got plugged in. So yeah, it's been like a front row seat, or maybe like right behind the curtain backstage seat on everything, on the cup, on the whole Colorado rise, from and through medical. I kind of saw everything I loved turn to something I didn't love as much.
Sure.
Just like with the cup, right? At first, it was just me enthusiastic standing on a chair. Then there was some people were haters, bro. There was some company. I will not say names, but there were companies straight up haters, and they would then bring sound systems and this and that just to be louder, And it got ridiculous.
Got to a point where Vader extracts in California was shooting money out of cannons. Like, you got
And then who
a little
else?
nuts.
The cup, right? At that point, the cup was fucking ruined. When that little seed grew, it was a fucking poison tree. And so, I see that with a lot of what we've done with cannabis in Colorado. I've seen, we've gone together through the trenches on how legislation they kept moving it, here you go, right here. It's right here for you, buddy. And then they moved it a little further away. No, it's right here for you. And then a little bit further away. No,
Yep.
a little bit further, and like I've seen it's just corrupted, dude. The quality of herb is nothing like it was in 2010.
Yep. I say this many times.
Just the average weed on the shelf was like the fire weed today.
Yep.
And in the average shop, I'm not talking about anything special.
Yeah, across the board, the weed was better everywhere because essentially we were getting our weed from the growers in the community, and we got to pick and choose the best product to put on the shelf. And like it was a much better format than massive
boutiques
farms.
Was running 4-6 lights in their basement. Maybe some big guys were running 20s, but the shops couldn't buy all that.
Right.
And people would come in with their jar. It was phenomenal, dude. That really the cream of the crop rise to the top, and the pricing was great.
Yeah.
There were some great shops that thrived then that aren't around anymore. In any case, I don't know. Having gone through it all, that's when I ended up doing the Dunn Show. It's when I was working for Kind Reviews. Adam hit me up. I was hanging out at Hood Live a lot. Adam hit me up and was like, "I want to do a radio show. I want you to be my gossip person." Because I was on Facebook at the time and, very much involved in the scene gossip.
I want to do the TMZ of weed portion.
I was like, I don't want to do that. But if you want to do like a real journalism about weed, like, I want to know who the fuck made Sour Diesel, and we could start there. And there's a lot of other shit I want to know that I know other people want to know too.
Sure.
And that's when we did it. We jumped in and.
You did a lot of shows. Do you know the number of shows that you did? Because it was years, wasn't it?
Yeah, I have no fucking idea. I know that I can tell you some of my favorites. I met some awesome people. Jim Frere, I don't even know if he's still around. I think he just fucking dropped off the radar too. But Jim's one of the fucking smartest, dopest people I've met. Period, hands down. Bodie was an amazing person to meet. Never thought I would meet Bodie. And Rob Clark, dude, like meeting Rob Clark was fucking going out for beers with Rob Clark, I don't know, 5-6 times.
Sure.
Amazing.
Yeah, I joined you for a lunch with Rob Clark. It's going to be a highlight of like my life forever. It's like eating with royalty.
People that I looked up to since I was 21, at least 7, 8, 9, 10 years, that's amazing shit. Even, the people I take for granted now, but you, Scott, these were all people who I admired from afar before I got to know everyone. And then it became, once you get familiar with things, you take it for granted.
Sure.
But still, like some of the best growers in the world. When I started doing the Dunn Show, not when I started, after a while doing the Dunn Show burnt me out because of really the exact same fucking thing that, again, I started my own seed grew a poisonous tree because, really it's after ADSI, then the egos got fucking crazy, man. And I was the one who was like, hey, we should all have a party and you guys should all come and show up, 6-7 years before.
Yeah, you shouldn't carry any guilt for that because it started a foundation of something that's pretty dope, no?
And nor did I invent that, right? Like there had always been weed gatherings, right? That's a common thing for growers. But yeah, the doing ADSI was a highlight for me when literally like the weeks before my first daughter was born, I had this vision for World Championship Cannabis, which is you're goddamn close to it with what I saw at
The Grand Prix, right?
at the Grand Prix. Just not just like what I saw, the visual, like the look I had for it, the thought, the Bruce Buffer intro, all that, like that. That's exactly what I was shooting for. ADSI had a more underground type vibe, which was dope.
That's what I was going to say. Is I remember the very first ADSI, and it was a magical moment because it was the internet coming together in one room in real life. And you walk in that room, and everybody was nervous to be there. I don't give a fuck if they say they weren't. They were. Everybody that showed up was nervous to be there. You all had to sit down at a table across from somebody. You didn't know who it was, but you knew he was somebody, a big shot. And the first 20 minutes were nerve-wracking. You pass out a couple bowls. 20, 30 minutes into it, the room loosens up. And after that's over, the connections that were made at that event and getting everybody to see everybody, even their trolls. The guy that trolled them was across the room, and you know what I mean? And there was no issues. It was respectable. Everyone. It was just it was a magical moment for me because to be invited to the room was awesome also. So it was just like, that's what I think a lot of people felt or should have felt, was the fact that I'm invited to this room is fucking sweet. You know what I mean? But yeah, the first ADSI I think is super special.
That's for the most part what I heard. I think that year too, the way we did it, with the meeting in Denver, getting on the school bus.
The bus that broke down, all of it, it's a memory. It's a great memory.
It's a classic once in a lifetime experience. Yeah. And even the second year at the Incredibowl shop, that was really fucking great too. I think it was well organized, well run. You were in the guest room, right, for that one?
Yep. Second one was great too. I mean, they're all good. I'm not gonna say they turned bad or anything. There's this great idea. Adam's doing an awesome thing there. I hope he continues it. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's the idea of March Madness in a bracket style. I just think is genius, and the fact that they picked up on it and do it, it's great.
That I feel like that's the innovation I brought, because really when I was judging cups, the two things were having the book, so it was criteria, and the other thing was like, really what you do is you just got to do, is this one better or this one's better? No, this one's better. Okay. And then is this one better or this one's better? This one's better. The one you had the least of at the end was the one that always won. That was the winner. Like it was the easiest way to do it comparatively. Doing it objectively the way you do it is awesome. I like that at the Grand Prix, where you have a number system, but
a point scored to the next round.
It's first of all, people will fuck with it, and second of all, it's hard to know that everybody's judging everything on the same scale. Theoretically, that washes out,
right?
But you want to. For me, it was easier to just say yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. I don't know where I got the deck of cards thing, but that I still have jars all over my house that have a label, three a dime.
Right. I think I was something of clubs or whatever, but I think it was 8 of clubs or whatever. But yeah, people still refer to their strains as the cards that they were all the way back then.
That's great. That's awesome.
Very cool, man. I'm getting to the end of this IG live, so generally these shows are only about an hour long. So we've done a good little chat here. I want to give you opportunity to if there's anything you want to talk about, anything new with Incredibowls you want to talk about, or where can people find Incredibowls, or what new do you got cooking, or we'll have you back. I'd like to have you back. We may try to sucker Mitch into being a co-host here eventually one day if people are into it, but we'll see. I got to talk him into it. A lot of talking going on there. Talking the wife and the kids into letting them do it.
Well, this time works actually pretty good for me. So we could potentially do this. Naturally, I'm fucking exhausted. I mean, we can talk about coronavirus for a couple minutes. I know no one wants to, but
sure. Colorado just got locked down, man. Like you got any inside scoop? I mean, we've been going back and forth in the text. Like shit's getting a little wild.
It's wild. Everybody stay safe. Don't be fucking stupid. It's real. First of all, it's real. Like I talked to a lot of first responders, military people.
You see Rob Carney went down?
What's that?
Rob Carney went down? He's in the hospital, bro, with corona.
No.
Yeah. Yeah, I think he's on a respirator, everything, critical condition or something. So everyone, Rob Carney's a legend from the first ADSI also. Didn't he win it?
Nobody knew who he was till he came out to that. Yeah, people are wrong.
But yeah, Rob's in the hospital right now, I believe, in Crested Butte or in the mountains somewhere. So yeah, everyone put out some positive vibes for Rob.
Yeah, that's wild. So, and that's what I was just about to say. You're going to start seeing it affect your communities, people you know. Be safe. Don't be stupid. Masks work, gloves work, hand sanitizers non-existent, but use ethanol, Everclear in like a spray bottle. That'll do the job. Be safe and be careful. Things are getting crazy. About 15% of the NYPD is out sick right now.
Yeah, that's what, I don't want to be super downer, but I worry about what happens when fucking all the doctors get sick and there's no one left to treat anybody, dude. Like, you can wipe out a whole class of fucking doctor class.
All the doctors, all the fucking, when all that shit happens, and then, the economic circumstances that are at play right now are really fucking way more scary than like having the flu for 3 weeks.
Sure.
So I don't know. Everyone be safe, be smart.
Don't be stupid. Go to fucking do something stupid. Go to jail, because how long until you're going to see a judge right now? You know what I mean? Like, you don't want to go to jail right now and be in close quarters.
Oh no,
and
you
everything else.
definitely go to jail.
So,
you're guaranteed you're going to get coronavirus, because again, people are still getting arrested. Some of them have it, right? It's pretty intense. And you're not going to get the proper medical care in jail, and then you might fucking die. And by the way, if you think you can't get it because you're young, they say like 48% of the new cases in New York City are people under like age 18 to 38 or some shit.
Sure.
So you have to get it.
That's a little bit of everybody, man. Everyone needs to be careful.
Be careful. Is this the end of the Cannabis Cup? Quite possibly.
Yeah, it's, with the amount of joint passing that goes on at these events and everything else, it's really...
I don't want to fucking smoke around anybody right now.
Right.
Like,
totally. Anybody coughing in general. But
cough near me. Well, that's the big news about Incredibowl. I think we're gonna make a major comeback right now because you don't cough.
Totally. Yeah. I was gonna say bring back some sort of like I don't know, anti-coughing device or something. You're a natural born inventor, CEO, fucking mind. You could totally fucking figure something out that'll help people in times. But yeah.
But everybody be safe. Make sure you got people you can talk to. I'm not going to sit and give safety advice. I'm going to retreat back into the mists into which I've disappeared for the past few years. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my mission to drag you back out of the hole, bro. We're going to get you back out in front of some of these cannabis people again. So I'll try to get you back on as soon as I can get you back on, as soon as you'll have us. But yeah, I want to thank you for doing it, man. And with that, I'm going to sign off with Mitch. So thanks, buddy.
Peace. Thanks, man.
Yep. Full screen. All right, everybody. I'm going to give away some shit real quick before we sign off. I think there's a few minutes on IG. So we'll give away something real fast. What else do we got? Space Stone. It's a Lazar Cross. And we'll give this away by doing Lazar. On the email on top of your screen, 5th person to write the word Lazar in the email will get this. And if you hung out and listened to me and Mitch banter back and forth, you have a chance at winning this Mississippi Mud, which is ice cream sundae to Skittles and Bitch Slap. So, yeah, get that shit. This one, you got to email Mrs. Zippy with the Z. The S has got to be Z's. If you put Mrs. Zippy in there, and we'll do the 4th person on this one. So there's your opportunities. Once again, guys, thanks for hanging out. Stay safe. I'm going to mention it again that we have darkhorse.live right now. So as a website. So if you go there, I try to build it so that you can enter the contest without leaving. If you can send like a direct link, I think. It's in beta right now, so we'll see if this shit works. You let me know if it's working. But you can enter the contest without leaving, an open tab or whatever for all you phone users or IG users. And you can put it up full screen. So you might check that out if you want to be watching these lives on the regular. But yeah, it's cool to get Mitch out the hole that he was been in and have him come out and talk a little bit. If you don't know Mitch, he's been a bit of a mentor to me and a really good friend and somewhat of like a shrink at times. So Mitch is a good dude. Yeah. With that, I think I'm going to sign this sucker off. I appreciate everybody tuning in. Hope you got your chance at some free shit. Join us next week. Check out Incredibowls somewhere. I didn't get Mitch to tell us where to find them, but they're in head shops. Check out online and stuff. But Incredibowls are pretty dope. Check them out. They're like it's basically, I didn't really explain it, but it's got like 20 carbs, and it's basically like a steamroller and it's spring loaded. So when you pull the mechanism back, it shoots the smoke or the hit into your lungs. It's powerful, but sweet and smooth. Check them out. Incredibows. All right, folks. We're out of here. Peace.